silent drum.
Oh my God!
Hi there, welcome back to Brooke and Jeremy Adventure Awaits. Recently, we spent 15 days in Costa Rica, and in our last video, we shared our experiences in La Fortuna. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about our experiences in Monteverde.
So to get from La Fortuna to Monteverde, you need to drive around Arenal Lake. So Google Maps had been telling us that it was going to take about 3 hours to get there. Our Airbnb host said, no way, you're going to be looking at least another hour on top of that. And you're going to see why here shortly. You have the option, if you're not renting a vehicle, that you can do transport maybe by van to Arenal Lake. You get on a ferry, cross the lake in the ferry, get in another van, and then they will drive you to Monteverde. But because we had rented a vehicle, we drove.
So the drive to Monteverde was definitely an interesting one. I mean, the first part was pretty straightforward. It was the same highway back around Arenal Lake, which was totally fine. But then once we got off the main highway, that's where things got interesting. It was a lot of potholes, a lot of dirt roads, big rocks. And, there were some points where Jeremy was like, are you sure this is where we're supposed to turn? And I'm like, yeah, this is what Google Maps is telling us. And, there were other cars on those roads as well. So it's just the way.
The way.
The way. So yeah, our Airbnb host was definitely accurate in saying it would take longer because you have to go a lot more slowly in these sections, and the last thing you'd want is to blow a tire or something on a rental vehicle. So I mean, we just took our time and it was fine, but definitely be prepared if on especially that last hour and a half of the drive, it does get steep and rocky and lots of potholes.
Who's the jinx now?
I know. It was me who said we have less than an hour, and that's what.
Oh my God.
Slow and steady. Once we started our ascent up into the mountains and heading towards the cloud forest, the views were just spectacular. We wanted to stop every 5 seconds to take pictures and video. It was just breathtaking. The rolling hills, the green and lush vegetation, it was just really, really special. So our first full day in Monteverde, we had decided to go to Selvatura Adventure Park. So there's lots of options to choose from once you get to Monteverde, different zipline parks and lots of activities. With the research that we did, Selvatura was just the complete package. They offered the canopy tour, the ziplining, they offered suspension bridges taking you through the cloud forest, as well as a sloth sanctuary, butterfly and reptile sanctuaries.
We chose to book everything online, which was super user-friendly. They have their own website, and there are different options as to what you can book. You can book just single activities, or they have packages where things are grouped together. We opted to do the all-day package, which literally included everything.
Our first activity at Selvatura, we had opted to do the canopy tour, the zip lining, first thing. We got there pretty early in the morning, so we wanted to beat the crowds. The shuttle will pick you up just outside of the meeting point at the front entrance and drive you up towards the area where the zip lining starts. After a brief safety meeting, you get all of your gear and clip in, and away you go. So the first few zips are a little bit shorter. They want you to sort of get your feet wet and get some experience with the braking mechanism and all of that sort of thing. And then, you embark on 13 different cables, lots of different platforms. The final zip line is about 1 kilometer long, so it's a really long one. The highest point there is about 178 meters or 584 feet above the ground. So you are way up there.
Go, go, go. Yeah. Woo! Can we get all of us in here? It's tight. Nice. Selvatura.
One thing you do need to keep in mind though is that because as you move through the different platforms, the zips do get longer, they do get higher. So, sometimes in between the different zips, there is quite a distance that you have to walk. So sometimes you're walking through the woods, sometimes you're walking uphill. There's stairs that you have to climb to get up to the platforms. They're not all just connected. So you do have to be in reasonably good shape to be able to get to those different platforms. So just something to keep in mind.
So one of the things that we loved about the zipline park here at Selvatura was just that the variety of the different zip lines. Some of them were shorter, some of them were longer, some took you through the trees. When you get up to the top and you're 178 meters in the air, you are above the trees and feel like, you know,
You're flying.
You're flying, you're on top of the world. You know, there are zips that are tandem where you're hooked in with another person. You know, you get so high, the views were just unbelievable.
And right before the very last zip, what was really neat about this park is that you have the option to do this Tarzan swing, which was really, really cool, and we would highly recommend that. So for this one, you walk up to the top of this platform and they clip you in and everything, and they open this gate and you literally just step out. And you do a short free fall and then you kind of swing out. And, you know, I'll be honest, I definitely have a fear of heights, especially when it comes to free falling, but it actually wasn't too high up. It was very, very manageable, and I braved it and did it and conquered that fear. So for anyone out there who does have a fear of heights, it actually wasn't too high, and it was well worth it, and it was a lot of fun.
Do it.
After that, you do go to the last zip, and this is where you have the option to sit normally like you were for all of the other platforms, or you can choose to pay $10 per person and you can do the last zip Superman style. This is something you have to pay for before you start all of the platforms, because what they do is they give you a backpack that you wear for the whole thing, and all the extra pieces and the harness and everything goes in that backpack. And then right before that last zip, there's a staff member that comes and helps put you in it and set you up so that you're all ready to go.
After you're harnessed in with your Superman gear on, you have to climb up to the final platform where they have you lying down on your stomach. They clip you into the final zip line, and off you go head first, flying down towards the final platform. Now, this one is about 1 kilometer, just over 1 kilometer in length, and you feel like you're above, you know, on top of the world. It is just incredible. And the views, you're flying so fast. It's a little bit scary, a little bit exciting. We absolutely love this and would highly recommend the extra $10 US per person to be able to do this Superman style.
After the zip lining, there were 3 different sanctuaries that we chose to do next. They have a sloth, butterfly, and reptile sanctuary. Each one of these involved a guided tour that was about a half an hour long, where they would take you around and talk about the different things and explain some information you might not have learned about, which was really, really neat. We were absolutely, most definitely excited about the sloth sanctuary. You know, that's one big highlight of coming to Costa Rica, is to see a sloth in real life. And we knew we were going to see some sloths at some of the national parks later on in the trip, but we weren't really sure how close up we were going to get to see them. The trees are very high. You know, maybe we're only going to see them in the spotting scope. So we knew that, you know, having this experience at the sloth sanctuary, we would definitely get to see them up close. So we were very much looking forward to that.
Now, our guide was explaining to us that there are 2 different types of sloths. A two-toed sloth, which has a little piggy nose, pig-looking face, and then the 3-toed sloth, which has the black mask. These are the ones that I think people are most familiar with.
Yeah, with the smiley face.
Yeah. Now, at this particular sanctuary at Selvatura, they only had the 2-toed sloths, so we weren't able to see the 3-toed sloths here, but we were so excited, and we were surprised at how up close and personal you got with the sloths. Of course, you can't touch them or get that close, but they were not behind glass. They weren't behind cages. Yeah, they were just, you know, climbing around on the different, you know, ladders and almost like a monkey bar type thing. And it was really an amazing experience.
After we went to the sloth sanctuary, we went to the butterfly and reptile sanctuaries. And we'll say they were both really informative and a great experience. The butterfly one was actually really neat because there were just, you know, thousands of butterflies just flying everywhere, and, you know, just kind of gave this feeling of calm and peace, and it was just
majestic,
very, very beautiful. So would definitely recommend that as well while you're there.
Our final activity at Selvatura Adventure Park were the suspension bridges. So this is a treetop walkway that's approximately 1.9 miles. It's a peaceful trail that connects through the cloud forest. This is a self-guided activity, so you're not going to have a guide going through the system with you with a spotting scope or anything like this. Now, there were 8 bridges that were ranging from 170 feet up to 560 feet in length.
You know, when you first start, I will say it's a little bit unnerving. I mean, the suspension bridges, they're springy and bouncy and they kind of move a lot as you're walking across them. So it definitely takes a little bit to get used to it, especially if you have a bit of a fear of heights like myself. But once you get used to it, you know, it's a super neat experience. You have the different bridges, and then, you know, they're connected by these walkways through the woods, and then you get to the next bridge, and, you know, the bridges get higher and longer the more that you move along through the trail. And, you know, once you're that high up, the views were absolutely spectacular, and it was just so beautiful up there.
So during our research, we had discovered that you weren't really going to see many animals and birds through the Cloud Forest Preserve, especially at Selvatura Park, just because of the amount of noise there with the zip lines, with the amount of people that were there. So we went into this knowing that we were there more to see the flora, not necessarily the animals. Now, when we were up on one of the final suspension bridges, our son Brody did spot a coati playing in the trees. So these coati look similar to a raccoon with a longer bushy tail. And they do, you know, live in the trees and run around, eat and play in the trees. So it was really neat for us to capture some video and see this coati up running around in the trees.
Yeah, and surprising that they weren't scared to be so high up. I mean, they were literally on top of the trees. It was crazy.
As we were leaving Selvatura Park, we did spot one of these coatis and ran across the road. So we were able to get, you know, some up close and personal look at one of these things.
When we get high like this, I feel it in my loins. Like when I look down or whatever, it gives me that like weird, like you've gone over a little hill when you're driving the car feeling. It's a weird feeling. So high.
Our second full day in Monteverde, we had originally planned to go to the Monteverde Cloud Forest Reserve. We were going to pay maybe for a guided tour to go through and see if there was anything different that we could spot in terms of animals or vegetation. But our host at our Airbnb, Michael, had explained to us that the Selvatura Adventure Park was inside of a cloud forest reserve. And where our Airbnb was located was also just on the outskirts of another biological reserve. So the first night that we had arrived there, our Airbnb host, Michael, we had paid him to take us on a night tour in that forest. Where we were able to see all kinds of amazing birds, the resplendent quetzal, the national bird of Costa Rica. We saw a kinkajou running around in the treetops. We saw a green side-striped pit viper, very close and personal.
2 of them, right?
2 of them.
I mean, we would definitely highly recommend you doing a night tour at some point in your Costa Rican experience, because you definitely see different animals at night than you would during the day.
For sure.
So definitely put that on your list.
The little night tour that we did in a wildlife refuge on our first night. It's not open until the evening for the night tours, but we were told that we could kind of walk around on the street around the park and have a look for some wildlife. So here we go.
So we enjoyed a few hours walking around the property of the Airbnb and just on the outskirts of the cloud forest. We saw a couple of toucans. We saw lots of butterflies. We were able to see an agouti, which is kind of like a big groundhog. And what we were most excited about, the best part, was that we saw a family of about 20 capuchin monkeys. These are the white-faced monkeys. They came right to our Airbnb. They were eating and playing in the trees. It was a really special moment for us.
And this was something we were really hopeful was going to happen, because our Airbnb host had told us that a few days prior to us arriving, that this family of capuchin monkeys had been in the trees. And then, you know, unfortunately, by the time we arrived, they had left. So we were very hopeful that over our time there, they would return. And it was like our last day there, and they came back. You know, we were sitting on the porch having a coffee, and we have a really nice hummingbird feeder outside, and we were looking at the hummingbirds and just enjoying some time, and we could hear rustling in the trees near us, and we were wondering, are the capuchin monkeys back? Overall, we really enjoyed our time in Monteverde. One of the recommendations that we would suggest in terms of where to stay would be to stay in Santa Elena. which is located just outside of Monteverde. We just found that they had a lot more options when it came to groceries and restaurants and, you know, access to everything that you would need. So that's where we chose to stay. In Santa Elena as well, a few of the restaurant recommendations that we would suggest would be to go to the Orchid Cafe. It was an amazing breakfast place that we went to, and you know, we sat outside. It was a cute little setup, and we actually went there twice. It was so good. The service was amazing, and we really enjoyed it as well because we ordered their traditional coffee there, and it was really neat because they brought out like the whole contraption with the bag that the grounds were in, and they poured the hot water over top, and you know, the whole experience was just really, really neat. A couple of other restaurants that we would recommend would be Gustaco's and Bon Appetit. Gustaco's, we went to both of those places for dinner, and Gustaco's had more traditional food, whereas Bon Appetit was an Italian restaurant, and they had very delicious wood-fired pizzas there. So we would definitely recommend going to both of those places.
As far as Monteverde goes, it's easy to navigate yourself around Santa Elena and Monteverde. Now keep in mind the roads are very hilly, windy, and full of potholes, like the rest of Costa Rica. We spent 3 nights, which gave us 2 complete full days there. If you had to, you could likely cut 1 night out of your itinerary. I think that, you know, 2 nights would probably be enough in Monteverde. I mean, we did enjoy it and love our time there, but it was enough time for us. We just arrived in Monteverde, the green habitat. It was quite a journey to get here. We believe this is our 2-bedroom cottage. So we'll go in for a little reveal. A little patio. What, is there a table and chairs or no?
Yeah.
Well, we got some chairs and table. Hummingbird feeders. Nothing in it. Alright, let's get in and have a look. Alright. So we've got our little breakfast bar area. And sitting at the couch, little love seat, microwave, toaster, coffee maker, refrigerator, lots of nice windows. It smells really clean. We've got the first bedroom. Nice big double bed, lots of storage space and hangers. And the bathroom, oh nice. Shower. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice stone with the rain shower. And second bedroom. Same idea, nice little double bed. With storage again. Excellent. All right.
Thank you for watching the video, and as always, please like and subscribe. We really, really appreciate it.
It means a lot to us. In our next video, we're going to be taking you to Manuel Antonio, spending some time at the national park, more sloths and monkeys, and time at the beach. We'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers.